Kevin McCullough.
Back with Dr. Ben Carson. A very big treat to have him with us at the Kevin McCullough microphone. And Dr. Carson, you were just saying that this fight is taking on proportions that some people don't even realize it's because it's being done so subtly against us.
Well, they hadn't realized what's going on, but if you look at the congressional record from January the 10th, 1963, we're talking over 60 years ago. Congressman Herlong from Florida delineated the 45 goals of communism in America. Things like taking over the school systems and the teacher unions and Hollywood and the news media in order to reform people's thinking. Things like making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy are the words they use. Removing God, not only from the schools, but from everything, and going into the churches and changing the real gospel to social gospel. I mean, it's pretty awesome what they've been able to accomplish.
It's played out to a T, it looks like.
Yeah. And so I suggest, obviously, many things that can be done and that must be done to protect ourselves and to protect our children. I give the example with the children of this transgenderism. Well, think about the way that the brain develops. It starts developing from the moment of conception, millions of neurons a day. By the time a baby is born, billions of neurons a day. That's why a newborn baby sleeps 20 to 22 hours a day. That brain continues to develop into your mid to late 20s. So can you imagine a 12-year-old who has an immature brain and trying to confuse them about things like gender? That's why God gave them parents, to protect them from people who would take advantage of their vulnerability.
Well, it is one of those things where it has come on with such ferocity in the last 3.5 years. I never would have thought that we would have had this much damage done this fast, but it's been a full court press. It's been Marxism in fiscal policy. It's been this that you were just describing in educational policy. I mean, President Biden came in and within the first week blackmailed all public schools and said, if you don't push the gender ideology stuff, we're going to take away kids' breakfasts and lunches for your poor students. I mean, Dr. Carson, when you think about just that action alone, that's pretty sinister.
It's massive, and it's according to those who want to fundamentally change our nation. They know that they have to change our values in order to do that. What is the thing that made America so strong? It was that can-do attitude. It was the togetherness. If it was harvest time and one of our neighbors broke his leg, everybody else harvested his crop. They didn't ask him whether he was a Democrat or Republican. They didn't ask him what religion was. We were Americans. We were colleagues and friends. And now we've allowed ourselves to be manipulated and wedges driven in between us based on race, age, income, gender, political philosophy, religion, and it's destroying us. And I have a little acronym. It's called WANE. We are not enemies. We've let division wax for a long time. It's time to let it wane now and move back to what we were once before.
I don't like asking this question, but I feel like I need to. The reason I don't like asking this question is because I don't think any group of people are monolithic. But the discussion of race and race-based involvement in government and politics is always a hot topic. And what I'm watching by way of current polling seems to indicate that President Trump is going to do quite well with specifically African-American men, but even African-Americans as a whole, maybe an all-time record. He's polling somewhere around 28% in the Black community right now. I think that there are a lot of things that go into this. I think an increasing Black middle class. I think a lot of people kind of waking up to the reality that whatever Joe Biden promised was going to happen didn't happen. But I guess what I'd like to know is, do you think that some of this movement, because Trump only got 12% in 2020, and that was the most that any modern era Republican had gotten in terms of the black vote. Do you think that this is a generational shift or an election cycle shift that we run the risk of reverting back to? Or do you think that there is real move afoot of people saying, I'm going to investigate and I'm going to vote according to what I actually believe and not according to what some of these race baiters have been telling me I need to do for these many years?
I think it's a movement that is being manifested in a group that's easy to identify, but is occurring across all demographics. People are seeing that it's more difficult to fill your car up and pay your bills, your utility bills, and buy food and have dreams. And that's going across all demographics. I don't think Blacks and Hispanics are any different than anyone else. They recognize that they were much better off under the Trump administration. They realize that this administration is selling them down the road and just using them. And I think they're reacting to that. And I think it's going to be transformational. It's not just going to be in this election. And that's good, because everybody should be fighting for the votes. No one should be taking them for granted.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. And I think that, this isn't the legal night, so we're not talking about legal issues, but, I think that people of every stripe look at what the Alvin Bragg prosecution has tried in New York and others. And I think that they're looking at him going, if they can do that against a former president and a man who's pretty wealthy and can do pretty much whatever he would prefer to do in life, what could they do to me?
Right. I think people are smart enough to recognize that if we allow that to succeed, this is no longer America for any of us. And the people are a lot smarter than the left gives them credit for.
No, I think you're right. The book is called The Fight, Overcoming Our Culture's War on the American Family. It is none other than Dr. Ben Carson, co-written with his lovely bride, Candy. And sorry she couldn't join us tonight, Dr. Carson, but please give her our greetings and our best as well. And please come back and see us again here at That Kevin Show.
Thank you for being a patriot.
You got it. Coming right back from Times Square. So glad to have you with us. Don't go away.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.